Welcome back to the Global Builder's Guide, episode 15. I'm Enigmius, and today we're building walls. So exciting. We left these to last so that we could show the building of the structure without having the building obscured by walls. And also, as it turns out, even though we did a fairly complex roof, you can see I called it the Zen blanket roof design because it's got all kinds of different curves going on. We're going to have even more curves going into the walls, but they're going to be very, very subtle. I don't want to be too in your face with the kind of curves because then it just makes it look like we're trying too hard to make things round, if that makes any sense. But one of the things that I mentioned when we were building the roof is that I like to take ovals or circles or things of that nature and just use parts of them, like parts of the curve. And when I said that, that was entirely accurate with regards to what I do. I get a lot of shapes and design dimensions from plots.co.uk. No affiliation, I just use them a lot. And I thought that, like I said, it was a very accurate way to describe exactly what I do, but it wasn't necessarily a helpful way, because if you can't visualize exactly what I'm talking about, it doesn't mean anything to you. It's not very helpful. So I decided, since we're doing such a technical build for the walls, I might as well show you in a little bit more detail exactly what I mean. So you can see I've drawn this enormous oval with dimensions that I got from plots, not because I would always do this, but because it illustrates the concept, exactly what I was talking about when I say I only use a segment of it. In this case, this is just a guide for me to get the curvature on the side walls. They're going to be high on either end, and then they dip towards the middle. So it'll be lower in the middle than it is on the sides. And then you can see here, I'm putting in another oval, or in this case, just a half oval, because I wasn't about to excavate so that I could put the whole oval in. And this is going to be the guide that we're going to use to give us the curve on the side walls from the bottom, curving towards the building at the top. So by using these ovals and the guides and the uniform curves that it gives us, it means I don't have to worry so much. I don't have to second guess myself so much, because I can't do like the pixel art circles freehand, so to speak, to save my life, especially in a project of this size. The bigger it gets, the harder it is to make it look right without looking like some kind of partially squashed square or some other nonsense. So you can see I've got my second oval in, and it's actually intersecting with the first oval already. And then we're going to have to put in a third oval that will give us the curvature on the end walls. So along the top of the walls, it's going to curve up. So it's going to be lower on the sides than it will be in the middle. And between all these different ovals, we're going to get the curves that we need to make these walls more than just straight up and down kind of stuff. Now also, if you recall, way back when we started building this guy, I put the basically the layout of the walls, the form factor, so to speak, in cobblestone on the ground, as much to make sure I left myself enough space for everything and I could fit the actual structure inside properly, but also so that I could get a general idea for myself of where I was going to be starting off with for the design. So you can see we're doing this all out of dirt for the guides, because they're guides and I want the contrast so that they're distinct from the cobblestone. When we start building and they start merging, I don't have to worry about what's guide and what's wall. Very, very easy to tell. So you can see we've got another oval or half oval going into place here, giving us the top arch for the wall. Now I could put another giant oval down the other side that would give us the arch inward from the end wall, from the ground up to the top towards the building. I'm just going to duplicate what's already there, but you can see now I'm getting rid of the extra oval bits, the parts that I don't need. So you can see what I was talking about when I said I only use segments of them. Now you get an idea of exactly what I mean. So I've got the one segment across the top, I've got the two segments down the sides. I still haven't cleaned up the giant oval down the long side of the building because I kind of like it. It's not going to be there in the final design, but this huge oval is kind of neat to me for some reason. Now you know what I mean by segments. So what that puts us in a place to do is start building the walls, and we've got guides that we can compare what we're doing against. Instead of trying to do it all by guesswork, using my rudimentary, see also horrible pixel art skills, to try and do these things, make them uniform, make them look good, it's not going to work for me. So I do what will work, and I'm starting at the top with this, so that as I make it follow that curve all the way down, it gives us some depth to the walls. Instead of just having a curve along the top and then the walls are basically just straight lines all the way down, the curve is going to carry all the way down. Gives it, to me, a lot of visual interest. Now, with a structure like this, with the walls being as large as they're going to be, the walls are basically one of the first things that a person is going to see. If you're on a server and you've got some people coming to visit or whatever, they're going to see the roof and they're going to see the walls, and they'd be like, wow, that's a little bit different from a 9x9 cube. And that's sort of the whole idea. So I'm going to let you watch the building for a little while. We're just going to put in this one end and then we'll switch over, we'll do the other side. I want to do this in quarters so that I can sort of fine tune it and tweak it and then duplicate it around. So you can just enjoy a little bit of music and watch the build happen. And there we have it, the completed quarter. I'm calling it complete in the sense that it's a completed wall. I'm not saying necessarily that I'm not going to fiddle with the design and tweak it a little bit maybe between now and the time we do the next video. But with the quarter done, this is a great time for me to look at it and say, am I happy with this before I start copying it all the way around? Because if I don't like it now, it's easier to fix than when I have to fix it and then fix 3 other corners or 3 other walls. So by all means, leave your comments and feedback below. You can follow me on the Twitters at Enigmius1. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, one way to be notified when I add new videos is to subscribe. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.